Welcome back to a new video. So this is a light session, so I figured I would just yap while I do my training. The goal is to do an 80 kilogram hip snatch and a 110 power clean plus push press. The reason I don't want to do a hip clean is they're a little bit too mentally difficult and honestly physically difficult, especially with the front rack, and a little too risky in a sense at this point. And I'd rather do an easier power clean and focus on the push press. That tends to have a higher correlation to my clean and jerk than anything I've ever done in a clean variation. Because the jerk's usually the limiting factor. But I don't have normal training clothes on today. I was considering going to the park and then coming back to train, but I figured since today was a light day that it would be better to come and train and then go and walk my heart out at the park. I'm pretty sure I'm going to go over to the park that I've gone to a couple times, so maybe you'll see some clips from that I'll throw in. One I usually go to that's about 15 minutes from my house, so nothing radical today with that, but it's really nice out. I was working on the hill a little bit. The one that's behind the shed here, trimming that down since next week is when school starts. When the comp is, when school starts, which thankfully the first couple days of school, I think it's Thursday and Friday are the first 2 school days. I'm not exactly sure, but it's either Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or Thursday and Friday. It's not crazy important. I'm sure next week, Monday is our big convocation day where there's like 2,000 employees in my school district. I was looking that up and I was talking to my friend about it. There's like 1,000 teachers. So like school employees would be like your special teacher aides, all of the lunch people, everyone. Actually, I don't know if maybe that number is high, but like school personnel, at least what the internet says is like 2,000. I'm pretty sure there's over 1,000 just like actual teachers like me in the district. So we all apparently have to go to convocation, which is like the intro to the school year, and listen to the superintendent talk, which isn't the end of the world. It's not it's not that long or a difficult thing. The only thing I don't like about it is the sound is both years has never been good, and it is extremely difficult to hear anything. And also, as you can imagine, if you were having that many people in one place and then having to leave that place, there is a lot of traffic, and there's so many teachers. Our district is so big that I am curious like how much it impacts the traffic of the city, because it has to. I mean, there's so many schools and so many teachers and students and everything. Anytime I've driven during rush hour in the summer, traffic is like manageable. It's not really that bad, but during the school year, it just gets bottlenecked, and I think that's the school's fault. I think that's us, but can't 100% know that for sure. We have the performance sandals on, as well as the performance glasses. This has been my warm-up, where I just start with some tall snatches, and really, it's usually sore on the first one. And I lifted yesterday, of course, normal lifts, but today is usually when I'm the most sore the day after. So we'll see if a tall snatch will work. Force myself usually to do 3. It doesn't hurt. It's just like my muscles haven't woken up when I do the first one. But joint wise, it actually doesn't hurt, which is honestly surprising. So we'll throw the shoes on and we'll do the same thing. We'll just do the hip with the bar. I'll use straps, but probably no wrist wraps or knee wraps. And the goal is to do this session really should go really quick. Because I just had to do 40, 60, 80, and then 70 and 110. And it's not like a terrible temperature today, so it's not as if training fast will, I mean, I say that as I'm like, but it shouldn't be like dangerous, I guess I should say. Just slight windiness, but when we had that heat spell, it was like I actually have to like plan to bring multiple shirts and lots of water and like pace myself. It's like I could just pass out. It doesn't get crazy any hotter in here than outside, but when it gets to like 100 outside, it's 100 in here. Thankfully not in direct sunlight, and there's a tree above here, so it doesn't like, there's no heat accumulation, which is nice. There's a big bug right there. Sorry, you don't get to invade my space. I take a very nice approach, I guess, to bugs. But if they go on my platform, they get the death penalty. If I see like a spider on the wall or something, I don't go out of my way to kill it, but like right there, that flying ant or whatever, sorry, that's a death penalty. Yeah, there's no warnings for that. So hopefully I can train the bugs and the spiders in here is leave the platform alone, leave my equipment alone, have all the nooks and crannies, because I'm not climbing up there to whack bugs and stuff, and there's plenty of spider webs and stuff, which honestly, the more spiders in here, that's probably the better for bugs, like mosquitoes, that I actually don't want to interact with. So I'm friends with the spiders. Is that a spider web right there on my net? Huh, that's weird. But I'm friends with the spiders. Not really of the ants, because they always just, they're annoying and they go everywhere. But spiders help me out, so I give them a nice place to live. But let's go ahead and do some hip snatches. Probably should take off the glasses, even though it's not hot. That's why I don't wear glasses when I train, is they just slip off. I don't actually know how anyone does training with glasses on, like weightlifting. One reason I think that the hip snatch particularly, is helping, maybe it's just me gaslighting myself, but one reason I do think it is helping is that my left shoulder has always been, since I've injured it, slow to rotate relative to my right one. And I think with the hip lift and the tall snatches, that's all I'm doing. And so at a minimum, I'm warming up that range of motion, but hopefully it's also to restore or increase the speed of both shoulders of the rotation of my arms. And I have noticed a difference of, less so actually with the snatch, I've noticed it with the cleans of like my elbows punching under, but with how solidly I'm catching snatches right now, I definitely will be keeping it in. And really it's just a good warm-up. Like, it's so many times before I'd be doing powers and trying to overhead squat and trying to, it's like this, it's just jumping in the water, and it's like first one is not going to feel like I'm warmed up, but it's like you just keep doing it and your body has no choice but to loosen up, which honestly, even the first one, it's like when I sit in the bottom, by then I'm basically good. It's kind of nice. So when I started weightlifting and stuff, and I've never really warmed up a ton. I would just kind of just get into it. But just do singles. We're not trying to do a lot today as far as the lifting goes. And also I don't feel too bad, but also like it helps when mentally you know like it's going to be an easy session. But go ahead and get to it. We'll let you sit at the bottom. So someone dropped something off at my house. Hopefully it's my new driver's license. Here. Well, I haven't got my real ID yet. Because I didn't get one the last time I got a license. Where's the one? It's because I didn't really have any reason to fly anywhere. I don't think it was required in the last time to fly. Now it is, but I don't have any flights planned, but it's nice to have it for domestic flights because now it's required by law. There's probably alternative ways to get onto a flight. Like I could probably, I actually don't know because wasn't an issue. I didn't fly anywhere. But probably like a birth certificate, passport, or other things like that. But now my driver's license is real ID compliant. It was funny when I went to the, let me do this set and I'll tell you my funny story. So, it should be 60. My funny story. So, when you go to any sort of, anywhere, you have to fill out a form. And as a kid, I didn't have bad handwriting, but I was a boy, so I had very boy handwriting. And it's something that, I didn't try to write sloppy. And as I got older, my handwriting has just gotten exponentially better, I guess. And I've never really thought of like, oh, it's good now or whatever. But I do write with, physically write a decent amount and have over the years. But I was told, actually, at least twice, it might have been 3 times, that I have really nice handwriting. At school, I have a dry erase board in the front of my classroom and write like the lesson outline and stuff like that on it. And I've been told like multiple times like that I have really nice handwriting, which my sister has really nice handwriting, much nicer than probably even mine is at this point. But I never associated myself with having nice handwriting. So it was always like a weird, like, really? Like I didn't believe them when they told me that. But I've heard it at least twice, maybe even more, from different teachers. And when I went to the DMV, which is where this story started, it was, filling out the form, and the lady takes it, she's like, you have really nice handwriting. It's like, I don't know if maybe it's like I look like I shouldn't have nice handwriting, or maybe I actually do, but like, when you're doing that form, you want to make sure it's, really legible, so they're not being, struggling to read your different things. But it just cracks me up, because I'm like, I tell my sister, like, I got nice handwriting now, like, I got multiple women, multiple different places that are telling me handwriting looks really nice, so you can't grief me, because she would kind of, not really bully me about it, but, do what older sisters do. Which, like, to be fair, my handwriting never was bad. I think that's the funny thing, is it's not like I had chicken scratch before. Not like I had an issue being legible, but you watch women write and you just copy how they write from a biomechanical standpoint, you get better handwriting. So I did in 2nd grade. I remember watching a girl write a capital G, and I was just watching how her arm moved. And then, like, I don't even know, I was in 2nd grade, so it's not like I was looking at the biomechanics and stuff like that, but I realized, like, I not only was watching her, how she made the letter, but, like, how her arm moved, and, like, how her hand moved, and, like, the smoothness of it. And then I just did that. And not that my handwriting improved dramatically from 2nd grade, but in current day, like, that's how you write neater. You just try to write smoother, I guess is one way to say it. But let's go ahead and do this 80. last time, first time I did 80, this session I did the 103. We'll do a tactical reset, make sure I don't run out of time. But it's funny because like when I do these hip snatches, even the ones I miss, like I guess it's a good lift for me because they don't feel bad when I miss. Like, oh, I just have to get it back more, and that's very similar to how I miss snatches in general. But like the speed always feels good, and that's probably why they are feeling like they're helping. Is the speed underneath is more for me like rotating my shoulders faster. I'm doing that more aggressively. We'll use straps for these, but I guess I'll look sweaty for the park. But what are people gonna do? Judge me? Look at my teal shirt and think I'm a fat slob? Although, not the flex, but I think I do look big enough now and have for years to where I look like I might lift weights a little bit. You know, I think the traps give it away. I notice it randomly because I don't see myself from behind a lot. But when I was golfing in Wisconsin with my two friends, you know, it's just swinging. I was like, my lats and my back are just insanely, like, looks alien because I never notice it. And like to me, you know, it's hard to, I'm really pale, so like my muscle tone is really hard for me to be able to delineate and discern. Not that I like, if I got a tan or whatever, that I look super like more jacked, but I don't see, like it's hard for me to see the definition of my muscle. And my back I don't see a lot. So like randomly when I get a glimpse of it in a video or something, it's like, what it, like it looks like a medical problem. It's like sometimes when I'm starting to lift, my erectors stick out. I'm looking, I'm like, that looks wrong. Like it looks so like, I don't want to say unhealthy, but it looks unnatural. And it's just because I'm not used to it. But in my mind, I have the kind of, I don't want to say body dysmorphia because I don't really care what I look like. Body indifference. But I have the same mindset as I have when I was like 130 pounds, like just like a skinny guy. Like I don't really think that, like, I only can contextualize my body weight and relative muscle mass when I see like a professional athlete, like a running back that's my height or probably shorter, to be honest, because I'm probably too tall to be a running back at 5'11". Well, like Saquon Barkley, it's like, you know, 5'8" and 220 or whatever. It's like I outweigh that dude by 15 pounds. Like it's weird, and it's not like I'm fat. You know, that's the kind of the weird thing to me is like I see these like NFL players and like, man, like I weigh 10 to 15 more pounds than like these guys that are like, you know, built. And I'm like, I guess I am kind of, you know, it's like, then that's where I'm like, I guess I am kind of built like them. Obviously they're probably stronger and faster and all these things, but like probably not in deadlift. That's probably, there's probably very honestly few professional athletes like running backs and stuff that can out deadlift me. I'm sure a lot of them can out power clean. Saquon Barkley did like the 405 clean. But I'll be damned if he could out deadlift me. A lot of them probably can out squat, you know, because they're big linemen. All right, let's go ahead and do the 70 here. Hopefully I took off all the weight. Okay, I did. Let me just throw the blue one. One thing that's been interesting during this prep as I've gotten kind of just more primed is the plates feel lighter when I pick them up. Just kind of a nice thing. Makes you feel stronger. They've never felt like, especially like the blues, you know, they don't feel like insurmountably heavy. But it's one of those little things that you notice when you don't feel good on a certain day that like, even moving the plates around feels difficult. Or a little bit more than normal. And then when you're like really like juiced up about lifting and stuff, picking up the blue, you're like, I could just flip it like a coin. You just feel super strong. But I don't know how much that's just the mental or if it actually, I mean, I'm sure if you feel better, you're probably a little bit stronger. That makes sense, logical sense. Alright, so this will be our last lift today, and then we're going to go get a nice walk in the park, fully relax on this lighter day, and tomorrow will be similar to what I did yesterday. My phone also vibrated, so I don't know if that delivery was a package or something. Honestly, it could be my new license, but we'll see. Yeah, a little bit more difficult than I would have liked, but mostly because of the straps on the power clean. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this one. So listen to me ramble a little bit about some random stuff, but I'll probably do a similar video Thursday, and then probably nothing on Friday because it's gonna be so light that I probably won't bother filming anything. And then Saturday will be the last big heavy day. Then we're in the final stretch. Really, now it's kind of the final stretch, but I'm excited. I feel like this prep has gone better than any of my other preps previously. Even like the last one, my last meet where I hurt my shoulder. But there, like, in that one, I don't think I was snatching as consistently as I am now. I think I only clean and jerked 155 once in that lead up where I did 166. So like I've done 155 multiple times, and I'll do it at least one more time Saturday, and hopefully, I mean, if the session goes really well, then I actually will push up above 155, but I would like to just make that weight feel easy. Kind of the same with 123. Like, I want to get up to that again Saturday. If I feel really confident and really excited, I might go up to 127 and do my second attempt. But hitting 123 over and over, to me, it's giving me the confidence that, especially with like how it's feeling and like my mental state up to it, is giving me a lot of confidence that I'm doing the things correctly to build myself up for that competition. So, not that I think it's likely that I would get to like 130, 170, but like what I dropped out of the meet last year, I didn't think I had a chance. And that's where, if I don't feel like I have a chance at pushing to PRs or to competition PRs, like, why am I even going? You know, and to me, it's not like I value competition other than the fact that, like, unless I have a chance to improve. And that's where it's like, once I feel like I can't really, where I don't care about improving my list anymore, I'm not going to keep doing competitions. It's just stress. You know, there's no reason. I like exercising. I don't really care about competitions. And I think one thing that's also helped too is the mindset about press outs and stuff, where, you know, in the past that's stressed me out because I'm like, I don't want to bomb out because it's pressing me out. But now it's like, if I got red lighted on every single one of my lifts and I was still standing it up, to me, that's a made lift, no matter how bad the press out is. And so I actually don't care. Local meets, they're not really strict about it, but like, I could press out every single one of my snatches and clean and jerks, and if I caught 130 with a big press out and did 170 with a big press out, I would be happy. I would call that a 300 kilogram total. It doesn't count in competition, but at the same time, competition is to compete against others. And since I stopped playing competitive sports, I don't, for lifting weights, I don't care what other people lift. I'm not going to the Olympics. I'm not winning these, you know, big national meets or whatever. I'm lifting to beat what I previously have done or what I previously could do. And that's all relative to me. So what I hope is that nobody tries to like steal my clock or do anything crazy like that, because I'll be very upfront. I'm doing 123, 127, 130, and then opening at 162 and 163. Honestly, probably just do 162 and then go 167, 170. Like, those are basically my attempts. And it's not like it's a secret. I would tell someone at a competition, if they wanted to do 124, 128, 131 to chip me and beat me at the snatch, they can have at it. You know, it's, to me, I don't have that competitive juice. And I was lifting with a friend in the summer when I went up to Clintonville, and like halfway through, like, I realized that, we were having a competition, and it's not me being disrespectful to that, but like I'm so in my own head and focused on my own lifts that like I just hope the other person lifts well. Like I don't really care if they lift more or less than me. I'm just there, existing, and I think that's one reason why I can be successful by myself in the shed is there's not like that. I don't have that urge of like I gotta beat this person or I gotta lift more than this person. Like to me, it's just like I just gotta lift more. Yeah, like I'm competing against myself, and that to me is the essence of lifting in general, and kind of what has always appealed to me with it. Because like when I play sports, you're competing against others, and you're trying to win whatever game you're doing, your tournament, or trying to play one game to help your team and all that stuff. And what I realized my natural disposition is to just do the work and just work hard and try to improve upon myself. And that's another reason why it's like I don't really care if I have a coach or not, because to me part of the process that is enjoyable is programming and looking at your own technique and trying to improve it. I've never had a formal coach. My buddy that is going to count for me at the meet is closest I've had to a coach, and he's not really coached me. It was just a technical model for me to look at and to mimic, because I move slower and he moves really fast, kind of like an Art Tamakala type movement pattern. And he just basically said in maybe not so politically correct ways, but to essentially try harder. I would miss a lift when I was getting into the sport, and that's a lot of times that's all you really need. And when you have a base level of coordination and athletic ability, and also I think what helps is kind of, I mentioned like the writing thing of the watching my fellow second grader write when I was trying to improve it, is being able to see how someone else moves and being able to imprint that onto my own mind. I don't know if that's a normal thing that other people do. I think a lot of people try to do it, but I feel like thankfully I'm pretty good at that, whether it's naturally or just through repetition. Because even when I played basketball, I saw Pete Maravich, which if you don't know basketball, you probably don't know him. There's a spider here trying to get to my phone. You can't do it. You're invading my space. Death penalty. You're done. You're done. All right. But when I played basketball, and honestly with baseball is like the one I struggled with the most, but because that's such a high effort thing. And I also think that breaking my arm when I was in 5th grade, I don't think stunted my development, but kind of messed it up because I had nerve damage in my hand, and that probably transcended down to just motor development differences in my right arm versus other sports like basketball, which are like shooting is intense, but it's not anywhere near like throwing a baseball. But I saw a Pete Maravich video, and he was like, I shoot with an open window. And I was like, logically, that makes sense, that you don't have your arm blocking your face, you have your hand in an open window. And it changed how I shot, made it better, more consistent, but it kind of made it kind of like a Larry Bird shot. And I just did it, and then repetitioned, and it got better. But my camera's going to die, so we're going to end it here. But if you made it at this point, listen to my rambles. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll talk to you on the next one. Peace. I've done a little bit of this trail before. Sorry if I sound weird. I got sunflower seeds in my mouth, but it's like a loop. I haven't done it before, the full one. I just walked it a little bit just to see, but we'll see how nice it looks. I think there's 2 bridges at least. Thought this was a bridge. I was bamboozled, lied to, scammed. On this loop is, but it don't really matter. I'm already committed to it, but it's not very tiring to walk. I've been doing so much of it this summer that I actually have pretty good conditioning. One of the things that happens during the beginning of the school year is my feet usually hurt, because I go from being relatively inactive as far as walking goes to, a ton when you're teaching. And I think this year, with all the parks, all the walking I've done, should actually be pretty good. Shouldn't really have too much issues at the beginning of the year. Pretty well conditioned. I've even noticed, I'm not really running or anything, but I've noticed that I can do longer walks, and the cardio is harder to elevate my heart rate, which is an indicator of more efficiency, but should be good for just health, of course, but probably just good for recovery and everything too. And nature's nice, so hopefully I don't trip down this, but I'll go ahead and finish this walk out, maybe show you a couple more little clips, but probably no more rambling. I feel this video is probably going to be super long anyway, but it is what it is.